A game jam is an event where participants try to make a video game from scratch in an impossible time frame. How about we take this to another level of difficulty and use a game engine I practically know nothing about? I allowed 1 day of prep time because as much as I hate myself, contrary to popular belief, I am not a complete psychopath. And of course, we are working with Unity. I watched a Danish guy work his wizardry and revive my smooth brain. And not after long, like many, I had a generic red cube game. Mini Jam 110 announced its theme before the event. The theme was sacrifice, so I had time to pre-plan everything. However, participants are presented with a limitation during the jam, like when you put a band-aid on before you clean the wound. The first thing I thought of when I heard the word sacrifice is cult. Yep, you know where this is going. My initial idea was to make this simulation-type game where you manage a cult. Now I look back at it and that was a horribly ambitious idea for a game jam, but oh well. That's a problem for future me. The last part of my day was spent learning about tile maps and Unity's animator. The first day of the game jam was here and the surprise limitation was: failure is inevitable. I didn't know what to think of this at the time, so I moved on. Not having the knowledge to create tycoons, I started with the art assets. There were 3 character sprites, the cat demon who would be the cult's priority, the player character, and the generic NPC. I also picked out a color palette for the tile set and got to work. With the art assets done, I imported everything into Unity and programmed the movement. The map of the level had a ground floor and basement floor, so I had to create transition boxes to switch scenes. I'm sure now editing this video that there was a significantly more efficient way to switch between the 2 floors, but oh well. Roughly about when the transitions were finished, I implemented a system where you could shoot emails at NPCs to recruit them into your cult. I started the day by fixing the bugs from the email shooter minigame. The next thing I did was work on the soundtrack. As with every game I have ever made, I have never been bothered to actually add sound. Soundtrack had decent loops in their library and hippity hoppity, your sound assets are now my property. Up to that minor success, I was too lazy to add sound effects, so yeah. Around this time, I figured that creating a tycoon would be difficult because of my lack of knowledge and decided to scrap that idea and make a few minutes games instead. Fresh out of ideas, I procrastinated and did nothing. Renewed by sleep, I threw together some last-minute ideas. Sticking with the theme of cults, the mini-games I decided to make would involve gathering items for cult ceremonies and shaking money trees for, well, money. The maze game was really easy to implement as it was a simple platformer game where you collect items. The money tree game was also really easy to make as I just had to add a rigid body with gravity and a collider that would destroy the coins when touched by the basket. The enemy dialogue was another story. I wasn't going to create a text engine from scratch, so I wrote out the alphabet aseprite, and copy and pasted each and every letter needed in a sentence. That was really dumb. Anyways, it was imported as a speech bubble sprite and would guide the player if they needed assistance. The next thing added was a win condition. I didn't know how to add a win condition as accessing variables in different scenes was something unheard of to me. This is where the limitation saved me, as the theme failure is inevitable could be used as a lazy excuse to make the player always lose even if they completed all the mini-games. Finally, some UI and HUD were sprinkled in to make a start menu and cutscenes were added to give the game a really scuffed story. For the final export, I made a WebGL build as I wanted the game to be accessible to most people and in true pufferfishy style. There were like 50 game-breaking bugs I had to Red Bull through. If you would like to play this one spaghetti mess of a game, the link is in the description. Thanks for watching.